Okay, we're ready. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's hearing. Before we begin, let me introduce the members of town government that act as advisors to this board. To my left is Paul Hennings, counsel to the board. To his left is Blaise Donadio, a planner in the planning department. Now let me tell you why you're here tonight. New York State statute requires that any town that adopts zoning must also have a board of appeals to act as a relief valve so that those persons aggrieved by strict application of the zoning ordinance can seek relief without the expense of going to court. Town board can give Board of Appeals additional powers such as special exception approvals. In Smithtown, the town board has given this board authority regarding certificate of existing use and some special exception uses. The most common kind of application before the board are area variances. Area variances deal with dimensions such as lot area, frontage, height, setbacks, and parking spaces. New York State statute mandates that the board must consider the following 5 criteria in area variances. When you come to the podium to present your application, you need to address these areas. They're posted here for you. Number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created. Number 2, whether the applicant has other feasible alternatives. Number 3, whether the variance is substantial. Number 4, whether an adverse impact on the environment will be created. And number 5, whether the alleged difficulty is self-created. The statute requires that the board to balance the interest of the applicant and those of the neighborhood or community. The statute further requires that the board shall grant the minimum variance deemed necessary and adequate, and at the same time protect the character of the neighborhood and the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The board has powers to impose reasonable conditions for granting variances. Regarding procedure, cases will be called in order that they are advertised. When your case is called, please come forward, submit your affidavits, and mailing receipts to Mr. Donadio. Then you will be sworn in at the podium, and you will be given the opportunity to explain to the board why you need the variance. After the applicant is done speaking, all interested parties will be given one opportunity and only one opportunity to be heard. So please organize your thoughts, keep your remarks factual that are related to the case. Then I will ask the applicant to come back to the podium to answer your concerns. The board will then close the case and reserve decision. After all the hearings are closed, the board will review the cases and decide some of them. Others will be reviewed at a later date. There are 3 ways to find out the results of your case. Number 1, you can wait until after the public hearing, but there's no guarantee the board will act on your case tonight. Number 2, you can call the planning department tomorrow afternoon. Number 3, applicants can wait and be notified by mail. After the hearing is closed, no additional information or testimony can be submitted by the applicant or any interested parties. Okay.
There's an adjournment.
We have one adjournment. Yeah. 17432. 32. Okay. I don't know why I don't have. Okay, I have it here. All right, that has been adjourned. We are changing it to November 24th. Huh?
Okay, you wrote 10.
Yeah, we're changing it to the 24th.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough time to get everything in. All right, so that has been adjourned to November 24th. Okay? Okay.
Madam Chair, the first case on the agenda, number 17424, Paul Edwards, 28 Saturn Boulevard, Hauppauge, the location of the property, the northwest corner of Saturn Boulevard and Torland Court. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the setback of a proposed 6-foot fence on Torland Court from 40 feet to 6 feet. Reduce the minimum setback of a proposed 6-foot fence from the edge of road pavement from 26 feet to 16 feet on Apple Tree Drive.
Are they here?
Um,
Right.
There they are.
Thank Let me have your name, please,
Lori Edwards,
and your address, please.
28 Saturn Boulevard, Hauppauge.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. We are here to request a variance to reduce the minimum setback for a proposed 6-foot vinyl fence from 40 feet to 16 feet from the edge of the curb on Torlin and from 26 feet to 16 feet from the edge of the curb on Apple Tree.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. This would not create any undesirable change or any detriment to the nearby properties since we'll be placing a 6-foot vinyl fence that is not close to either one of the two corners that border our property. So the fence would not block the vision of the drivers coming around either one of those corners.
Okay. So you have changed it from 40 to 16 and from 26 to 16 on both roads?
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Okay. We feel this would provide the safest alternative since our property is bordered by 3 streets, and children, such as our toddler, and any of his young cousins or friends may attempt to climb the shorter fence. We do not feel this request is substantial, since it would provide the safety needed to our toddler as well as any other young children who would be playing in our yard. The proposed fence will not have any adverse impact on the environmental conditions. And lastly, the difficulty was not created by anyone. We are asking permission so we can put up a fence that will work for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Planning?
Madam Chair, the applicant actually has a unique situation in that they have 3 front yards, which is extremely unusual. When they first came into the planning department with their application, they had requested a 6-foot setback on Torlin Court. After some conversation, we came to an agreement that we could move the fence back to 16 feet. The board has approved fences set back at 16 feet for prior applications. Therefore, planning has no objection.
Okay. Gentlemen, is there anything?
No question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
It's readily moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
The next case on the agenda, number 17425, Maria Bellick, 84 Twin Oaks Drive, Kings Park. The location of the property, the west side of Twin Oaks Drive, 1,092 feet south of Country Oaks Drive. The property is zoned R15. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 16 feet to 9 feet and total side yards from 34 to 26 for an existing 17 by 32-foot pool.
Okay. Does she have the cards and everything there? Okay. May I have your name, please?
Hi, Maria Belloc,
And your address, Maria.
84 Twin Oaks Drive, Kings Park, New York.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. All right, you want to tell us why you're here, please?
We're here today to request a variance to reduce the 16-foot minimum side yard to a 9-foot and a total side yard from 34 feet to 26 feet for an existing 17 by 32 semi-in-ground pool.
Planning?
No comments?
Gentlemen?
No question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Regularly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17426, Brian and Maria Neglia, 100 Steuben Boulevard, Wisconsin. The location of the property, the northwest corner of Pine Drive and Steuben Boulevard. Thank you. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to permit environmentally sensitive land, depth to groundwater, less than 10 feet to be altered, reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 39 feet for a proposed 228 square foot sunroom. That's for you.
Good
May I have your
evening.
name?
Christina Bravin, Morano Expediting, 4 Hamilton Court, Quorum.
Do you have a power of attorney?
I do, I've submitted that, yes.
Oh, it's okay? Okay. All right, I'm going to ask you to repeat your name, and you're going to need to spell your last name.
Christina Bravin, Bravin, Morano Expediting,
Your address.
4 Hamilton Court, Quorum.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. We are requesting permission to construct a 21-foot 1-inch by 10-foot 2-inch sunroom addition onto the rear of the existing dwelling, holding a rear yard setback of 39 feet at its closest point, instead of the required 50 feet. Also requesting to alter environmentally sensitive land. And the proposed sunroom will be non-heated, and it will replace the existing deck, which has been there since they purchased the home in 1997. The property is heavily vegetated, and it'll be screened from the neighboring properties, so it would not cause a negative impact to any adjacent properties. And we also feel the request is not substantial because the home itself doesn't meet the 50-foot rear yard setback requirement. And the variance cannot be achieved by any alternative method due to the configuration of the lot and the property lines and the existing dwelling itself. I've submitted 6 photos showing the property and how it's heavily vegetated and the state of the existing deck. And although the property is considered within high groundwater, we don't feel there'll be any negative impact on the environment, as the house has been there several years without any issues. There is a pool there, an in-ground pool. The deck has been there for about 20 years. And we did have a test hole done, and that was submitted to the Board of Appeals. I don't know if you've received all the information
Can you
in
tell
time.
me what the test hole was?
When?
What? How much?
The test hole was done on October 6th, and it was submitted, and the water encountered was at 16.2 feet below the surface.
Okay, thank you.
And that's it. If you have any questions.
Okay. Planning?
No comments.
Gentlemen?
No, ma'am. No question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Come up, please. I need you to give me your name, please, and spell your
Hi,
last
Don
name.
Pelchuk,
Spell your last name.
Pelchuck,
Okay. and-
455 Gibbs Pond Road. My property is about
excuse me,
200 feet.
Excuse me. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And use the mic when you...
Okay. My property is about 200 feet southeast, I would say, of the property on Spectacle Pond, and about maybe 10, 15 feet lower in elevation. So any disturbance to these environmentally sensitive lands, I have a concern about, as all runoff from Steuben and adjacent streets runs down into the pond, which I own part of. I've been a steward of this pond for the 30 years I've been there, and nothing's really been done to maintain it by the town, no offense. But so when I hear the phrase environmentally sensitive lands, I'm concerned. Everything that I do, it requires a DEC permit because I'm on the wetlands with a 100 feet boundary. So I hear this, she's saying that she doesn't think anything is going to be affecting the environmentally sensitive lands. I'm just questioning, has a impact statement been done? Is it required? How do we, how's the property going to be protected during construction? So runoff and other damaging things might disturb the pond. I have not seen the application, but I'm just questioning.
Well, what it was, the environmentally sensitive land was for groundwater, but the test hole came back at 16.2 feet.
Okay, but runoff,
Pardon me?
street runoff, construction runoff.
It's for a sunroom. That was a deck, so it's right off the back of the house.
Okay.
It was a wood deck, and they're just turning it into a sunroom.
Will the ground be disturbed? It says altered. What does that mean?
I don't believe it can, the ground will be disturbed. Do you want to?
Based on what I've seen in the application, it's all above ground. The sunroom will be constructed on the existing deck, which has already been constructed and is on the upper level of the house. Regarding any disturbance to the groundwater, anytime there's an application regarding environmentally sensitive land, steep slopes, high groundwater, any type of fresh pond water, freshland water, the town considers that any construction on the property may disturb the environmentally sensitive land. In this case, there isn't any disturbance directly to the high groundwater, and in fact, there is no high groundwater because the groundwater came back at 16 feet, and any construction will be above grade, not below grade. Regarding any runoff, if you are concerned about that, the engineering department always reviews applications with respect to any type of water runoff or containment on property. They will probably require some type of on-site stormwater retention if there is any additional runoff from the proposed sunroom.
So when it says sensitive lands to be altered,
They're not actually altering them. But
will new footings be dug?
That I do not know.
Well, that's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah, that's more of a
How
building
deep is the
department
footings
question.
going to be? Where's the dirt going? Isn't that a reasonable question that you should have an answer for?
Well, if the footings are being dug, the requirement in the town of Smithtown is that they go below the frost line, which is typically 4 feet, which is going to come nowhere near the high groundwater. So it shouldn't be an environmental concern because it'll be at least 12 feet above the groundwater as it is. And typically, engineering, if they are concerned about runoff, during construction, we'll have a set of rules that the applicant must abide by, which could be hay bales, silt fence, all sorts of things that will have to be at the perimeter of the property so that nobody else's property is affected.
Was the DEC required to be consulted on this project?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. No further comment.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to be heard? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Regularly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17427, Anthony and Mary Jo Labasso, 226 Lou Avenue, Kings Park. The location of the property, the southeast corner of Lou Avenue and King Street. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to increase the maximum gross floor area from 25 to 29%, reduce the minimum front yard setback from 40 to 23 feet for a proposed 314 square foot first-story garage addition.
May I have your name, please?
Anthony Labasso,
And your address, Anthony?
226 Lou Avenue, Kings Park, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Robert O'Shea. I'm an architect. My office is at 821 West Jericho Turnpike in Smithtown.
Okay, raise your, you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. My client, Mr. and Mrs. Labasso, purchased this home in December. They had lived right across the street, and this became available, and they jumped on it. And now the shortcoming that's present in the house is that it's a one-car garage, and they would like to add a second bay for parking in the garage, which requires the front yard setback variance. In addition, the existing one-car garage has the rear portion of that taken up with a series of steps to get up to the main level of the house, which makes parking in that area, the existing one-car area, difficult. So at the same time as we're proposing to add 11 feet out to the side of the house, we're also seeking to build out toward Lou Avenue as well to make up for that space that's lost in the back of the garage by the steps going up to the main level of the house. The project will require the variances that were read out, in particular a front yard setback of 23.2 feet, where 40 feet is a required minimum. I would like to point out that the existing home is set back 21.9 feet. So while we are requesting a variance, we certainly are not compounding the degree of noncompliance, since the existing home is closer to the road. I'd also like to point out that had the lot been slightly shallower in depth, about a little over 7 feet shallower, we would only be required to have a 25-foot front yard. So we're on the borderline of that little quirk in the code as well. The floor area ratio we're requesting is 28.94, where 25% is the permitted maximum. Now, while the total floor area being proposed is 434 square feet greater than what is permitted by the Smithtown Code, I'd like to point out that 342 square feet of this overage is made up of unfinished, non-habitable attic space. That's something else that's written into the code that I'd just like to point that out. We're not inflating the usable portion of the building needlessly. That's something that was permitted under a previous permit, and again, it's just under a roof pitch, and it is usable for nothing whatsoever. This variance would not produce any impact on adjacent properties, since, as I explained, we're not getting any closer to any adjacent structure on anyone's property than what currently exists. The addition is toward the road and only toward the road. And again, I'd like to just stress the fact that we're not going nearer than what is currently in existence on the house. Excuse me. The benefit cannot be achieved by an alternative means, since any addition to the existing garage would require these same variances. This will not cause any effect on the environment, since the property is not located in any of the sections of the town of Smithtown that are mapped as being environmentally sensitive. And the building has not yet been constructed, so the hardship is not a self-created one. We feel that the completed project will be in character with the neighborhood and will not have any adverse effect on the public health, safety, or welfare. And that pretty much sums up my presentation here, and if the board or planning has any questions, I'll certainly do my best to answer them.
Planning?
No comments.
Gentlemen?
No, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Rarely moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17428, Marla Ostrowski Flood, 4 Mars Court, Smithtown. The location of the property, the northwest corner of Mars Court and Woodland Lane. The property is zoned R21. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 46 feet for a proposed 119 square foot portico, reduce the minimum side yard setback from 16 feet to 2 feet for an existing 98 square foot shed.
May I have your name, please?
James Flood,
And your address, please?
4 Mars Court, Smithtown, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Todd O'Connell, architect for Mr. Flood, doing business at 1200 Veterans Highway in Hauppauge, New York.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're here for 2 items this evening. One is for a very small 12 by 8 shed to the rear of the property, as well as a portico, which is constructed on top of an pre-existing stoop. The shed itself has been there for 4 years, basically prior to Mr. Flood moving into his home. So until we were here for the portico, we didn't even know it would require a variance. The shed itself would prove difficult to move into a required position, mainly because of the foundation that's already in it, and it also has underground electric going to it. And, you know, it is small in nature, so we don't feel it has a negative impact to the environment or any surrounding neighbors. And, you know, really the only other choice would be to move it, which didn't prove to be a practical solution. The portico is encroaching into the required front yard by 4 feet. The structure itself, it's open in nature, so we don't feel it's going to have an impact on the surrounding neighborhood. In fact, you know, we feel it's going to add some character to the home itself and, in fact, may enhance the character of the neighborhood. There's no negative environmental impact by building of the shed. There really is no other way to construct it without removing the stoop, because the stoop was already there, and we're just trying to work with the footprint of where the steps are without incurring the cost of an entirely new stoop. So with all that, that would conclude my presentation. Would welcome any questions this board may have.
Okay, thank you. Planning?
Madam Chair, the only comment would be regarding the setback of the shed. Although from 16 feet to 2 feet is a substantial request, it's 87% reduction in the required side yard. Based on the survey submitted with the application, it does not appear that the applicant has any alternatives.
Thank you. Gentlemen?
No, thanks.
No question.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Regularly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17429, Levin Allison Lewin, 89 Croft Lane, Hauppauge. Excuse me. The location of the property, the east side of Croft Lane, 93 feet north of Loft Road. The property is zoned R43. The applicant is requesting a variance to permit environmentally sensitive land, depth to groundwater less than 10 feet to be altered. Reduce the minimum north side yard setback from 24 feet to 2 feet for an existing 165 square foot shed and proposed 756 square foot carport. Reduce the minimum south side yard setback from 24 to 9 feet for an existing 179 square foot shed, a proposed 240 square foot first floor addition, and a proposed 644 square foot second floor addition. Reduce total side yards from 60 feet to 11 feet. Increase the maximum paving in the front yard from 25 to 53%.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. My name is Vincent Tremarco. I represent the applicant. We've submitted the affidavits of posting and mailing to Mr. Donadio. At the outset, I'd like to modify part of this application with respect to the request for a carport. Rather than ask this board for an 18-foot wide carport with a 2-foot side yard, we would like to modify that to a 12-foot wide carport, which I believe would give us an 8-foot side yard, and the total side yards would now be to 27 rather than the total side yards of 11. So we think that makes a substantial difference. I discussed this with my client, and being at the front of the house, we feel that this is a much better application and not as overpowering as the initial application. With respect to the front yard paving, yes, it is a large amount of paving, but if you look at the pictures, this is on Croft Lane. The property runs very far back. Actually, it touches the park. There is sufficient grass on the front of the property or in the property so that there wouldn't be any issues of drainage, which I believe that was one of the reasons as to why the town made this a 25% rule with respect to paving. Also, if you look at the survey, there were two dry wells directly behind the house. It's indicated by DW in a round circle, which I guess stands for dry well. So we don't think that that's a substantial situation, given the fact as to where it's located and the setback of the house. With respect to the addition, if you look at the pictures, we would like to demolish that sunroom in the back, and add a first and second floor addition. It would certainly be helpful to my clients as their family is growing and they need that extra space. The additional deck certainly wouldn't have any effect on the property. If you look at, again, the survey, the property is 538 feet long, so it's substantial length. And also, if you'll notice, there's like a line a little bit past half of the property, and the rest of that property going all the way to the park is wooded, and except for that one shed that's shown, it's all wooded and basically not used. With respect to the two sheds, the variances seem substantial, but this is in the building envelope rather than in the rear yard, so that requires the variance to be greater. But again, there's so much unfinished and unimproved property in the rear, we don't feel that that would have an adverse effect on the neighbors. And finally, the environmentally sensitive land, depth to groundwater. Again, it's on Croft Lane. Croft Lane parallels the park property. Going towards the park, I guess towards the east, the property pitches downward. There is a depth of groundwater issue, but really not by the house. The house has a basement. They don't have any sump pumps or any type of man-made removal of water. So given those facts, we ask the board to act favorably on this application. We don't feel that the variance would produce an impact on adjacent properties. All of the properties on that side of Croft Lane go all the way back to the park. Most of them are horse properties, and all of them are, if you look at the tax map, they're all 100 feet wide. And in that zoning district, it makes everything compressive when usually they're 150 feet wide. But all of those lots that go down to the park are all the same. They're 100 foot wide. The request is really not substantial because of the size of the property. And again, half of it is not even used. We don't have an FAR situation. And the practical difficulty is we have to build our extensions, additions onto the house, and because of the narrowness of the 100 feet, we have to ask for these variances. It is a DEC regulated property, and obviously we need a DEC permit or a non-jurisdiction letter, which we're in the process of applying for. And finally, can the difficulty be, or can we do some other action to change it? Not really. The two sheds in the back are existing, and they really don't hurt anybody or harm anyone, and the additions have to be on the back of the house. There's really no other place to put it. It also would be senseless to have to rip up all those beautiful pavers, and riding from the street, it doesn't seem overpowering to the neighborhood. So we ask the board for its favorable consideration. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Planning?
Just to give the board some information first, I just want to confirm with Mr. Tremarco, the width of the carport is being reduced from 18 to 12 feet. That is correct?
The size of the carport from the house would be 12 feet.
That would increase the setback of the carport from the side lot line from 2 feet to 8 feet.
That's correct.
That would be a 33% reduction in the minimum required side yard. With respect to the sheds that are in the rear side yards, if you will, they are far back. Because one shed is at 2 feet, the other shed is at 9 feet, it's actually a total reduction of 82% of the total side yards. However, given where they are located, with respect to impact, whether it be to the adjacent neighbors or the Suffolk County property in the rear, it doesn't appear that there would be that big of an impact. Overall, if the carport were approved to 8 feet, with a setback of 8 feet, the total side yards would be reduced from 60 to 17 feet, taking into account that 8-foot setback. Overall, it's about a 72% reduction.
Did you
For the-
say 27? It would be 27 total, right?
I'm getting 17. The carport would be set back at 8 feet.
Right.
And the shed in the rear, I guess that
Oh,
would be the
okay,
south
I
rear,
see what you're doing.
is
All right.
is 9 feet.
Yeah, because
So-
that's in the building envelope.
Right, so
But
17 feet.
just to make it clear, the house setbacks on each side, the total would be 27.
Correct.
Am I right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Tremarco? The carport is 42 feet long? Am I correct?
Yeah, it's the length of the house.
Gentlemen, any questions?
A quick question. If you're adding the carport to be able to put cars on that side of the house, is it possible to reduce that little section of the paving in the front that kind of encroaches on the actual?
Where the carport is, I'm not following you.
If you're adding the carport on the side, which gives you the ability to park cars now on the side of the house, would it be possible to reduce some of that front yard paving? I don't know if you recall, in the front, in that circular driveway, there's a section where there's like 2 parking spaces that are kind of cut into the middle.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Would it be possible to remove that and maybe cut down some of that front yard paving?
I guess anything is possible. Let me just ask my engineer what Mr.
carport can hold
Tanzi is
2
saying
cars?
is remove these. What?
This is going to be for his boat,
Yeah,
not cars.
yeah. You know, what Mr. Conlon said was that carport is going to be really enclosed. It's going to be used for boat storage, drive underneath it. So I guess they need that parking area. I don't know if you looked at the site, Mr. Tanzi, but from the street, it doesn't look like it's any type of...
Yeah, no, I agree, but it's just if you filled it all up with cars, it would look.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Let me just ask another question. You have a 2-car garage, and you're putting 2 cars into that carport?
The intention is to store a boat in the carport.
Yeah, that's what I was missing. No, I was thinking this.
questions? Anything else?
No.
Any other questions?
No
gentlemen?
question.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anyone here who would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Regularly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case on the agenda, number 17430, Anne Marie D'Amico, 2 Howell Drive, Smithtown. The location of the property, the southeast corner of Howell Drive and Route 25A. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to increase the maximum height of a proposed fence on top of a retaining wall from 6 feet to 9 feet.
Okay, may I have your name, please?
Anne Marie D'Amico,
And your address, please.
2 Howell Drive, Smithtown.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. You gonna let this gentleman to speak?
Yes.
Or is she speaking?
No, he's going to speak.
May I have your name, please, and spell your last name?
Nick Tramontano, Tramontano. I'm an architect for Petrarca Design and Engineering, 199 East Main Street, Smithtown.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So as we heard already, we're going for relaxation of the combined height of a retaining wall and a fence from 6 feet to 9 feet. We feel that's not going to be a major impact on the adjoining properties or the environment, as both the wall and the fence are permitted. Just we're moving them closer, and that's hence the required combined height relaxation. We thought about moving the wall to the bottom of the retaining wall along the property line, but then we feel it makes it unsafe area for the little toddler here. The wall is just in the property line, so we felt putting the fence on the upper side of the wall would make a safe spot for the property, and would and it also give the room to going for the relaxation of for the height would let the fence be closer to the wall, which would give more room in the yard itself.
Planning?
No comments.
Gentlemen?
Okay.
No question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing done. None, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Fairly moving second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. This is say goodbye to everybody.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17431, Richard Smolzeski, 142 Jackson Avenue South, St. James. The location of the property, the northwest corner of Jackson Avenue South and Rutherford Street. The property is zoned R10S. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 35 to 23 feet for an existing 270-square-foot deck.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. My name is John Zolo. I'm here on behalf of Richard Smolzeski. I will endeavor to keep this brief. The property is located at 142 Jackson Avenue South, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 83-2-27. The property is located on the northwest corner of Jackson Avenue South and Rutherford Street. The property is zoned R10S. The lot size is approximately 100 feet by 92.5 feet. My client purchased the property in December of 2010. What we're requesting here tonight is a variance for the rear yard setback. So my client could remove an existing 5 by 10 deck and replace it with a deck of approximately 15 by 18 feet for a total of 270 square feet. We're looking to reduce the setback from 35 feet to 23 feet for the deck. I just want to give you some photos of the deck that's located on the house, which would be to the west at 141 Montclair Avenue. And also an aerial photo that would just show you some decks on 140 Montclair Avenue and the house to the north of my client's house. I just gave you the photograph. That's 161 Montclair, which is the house faces my client's backyard. They're back to back, and the deck is probably similar in size to what's requested here. The request is for the variance. There's no other way to do this. The deck that he has right now is 5 feet deep, 10 feet across, and he'd like to replace that. I think it's in keeping with the character of the community, and I'm asking this board to grant the variance requested here, please.
This deck, does it have a variance that you're showing us?
That's a question I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
And I don't know about the one that would be immediately to the north, either, the next door neighbor on that side.
Any questions, gentlemen?
No comments.
Planning?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can take these. Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Regularly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the next case, case 17432, has been adjourned to November 24th. Okay?
The next case, 17433, Arthur Campbell, 66 Midwood Avenue, Nesconset. The location of the property, the west side of Midwood Avenue, 980 feet north of Chapman Road. The property is zoned R15. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 45 to 38 feet for an existing 455 square foot porch with a 72 square foot portico. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board.
Your name, please?
My name is Larry Buscemi, 15 Vineyard Way, Mount Sinai, New York. I'm agent for the homeowner.
It's fine? Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You need his spelling of his last name.
I figured you would. B as in boy, U-S-C-E-M-I.
Okay.
Good evening. This is an application for an
Make
existing...
sure you use the mic if you can.
Yeah.
You can take it out if you need to.
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
There you go.
Good, thanks.
This is an application for an existing deck, 13 by 35, and a portico, 8.6 by 9, which is requiring a front yard setback reduction from 45 to 38 feet. The variances would not produce an impact on the adjacent properties because the deck or porch faces only the street. Also, I have provided photographs of the neighborhood showing other structures of similar type in the required front yard. It's an attractive deck. It goes with the house. It's not, a detriment to the neighborhood. It's not substantial in that it's a 15% reduction in the front yard setback. The benefit can't be achieved in any other way, just due to the topographical features of the front yard. It's very sloped, and to create this front yard porch like this would require a structure pretty similar to this. It would not cause an adverse effect to the environment because, again, it's a deck, it's porous, it doesn't create any further runoff or anything like that. And it was, of course, self-imposed. They built it. They were unaware of the distance, the proximity to the street, but it was, built by them and was self-imposed. Again, it's an attractive structure that enhances the neighborhood rather than is a detriment to the neighborhood, and we ask that you look favorably on this application.
I'm going to ask you, too. Do you know if this other deck that you're giving me has a variance?
I don't. I know it's being constructed, though.
Okay. Thank you. Planning?
No comments.
Gentlemen, any questions?
No question.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's go Mets.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
It's really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case, number 17434, Escobar Property Management, 30 Helen Avenue, Smithtown. The location of the property, the south side of Helen Avenue, 100 feet west of George Street. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to permit environmentally sensitive land, depth to groundwater less than 10 feet to be altered. Permit environmentally sensitive lands to be used to calculate the permitted density, building coverage, floor area, or minimum lot area. Reduce the minimum required buildable lot area from 10,000 square feet to 0. The actual lot area is 10,000 square feet. Increase the maximum permitted gross floor area of the lot from 25 to 100% due to high groundwater.
And the actual FAR that we
Is
got
25
calculated
is 25%.
is 25%. Okay, may I have your name, please?
My name is Dimas Escobar.
Okay. You're going to have to spell first and last name.
Dimes. Last name is Escobar.
And your address, please? Your
Keep-
address.
140 Pioneer Drive in Bayshore, New York, 11706.
Are you an officer in this corporation?
Yes,
And what's your position?
the president.
What?
The president.
The president, okay. Thank you so much. Now, is this gentleman going to speak for you?
Yes,
Okay, raise your right hand first. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
yes I do.
Thank you so much. All right. Now, let me have your name, and could you spell your last name?
No problem. Jose Taveras, T as in Tom, A-V-E-R-A-S as in Sam.
And your address?
1156 Namdak Avenue, Bayshore, New York.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Jose Taveras for the owner, Mr. Escobar. The applicant is requesting the board grant them permission to allow him to build a two-story frame dwelling without a basement at the referenced location. The subject property is a 10,000 square foot parcel located on the south side of Helen Avenue, 100 feet west of George Street. The property was improved with a one-family, two-story dwelling prior to my client buying the lot, but at the present time, it is a vacant lot as the previous owners demolished the existing house. We are here tonight not because we have designed a house which exceeds the zoning criteria, but rather because the location of the property is such that it is an environmentally sensitive land due to the fact that we have a high water table at this location. And even though the original house, which stood for many years on this site, was not considered to have any detrimental conditions, we are here considering a variance once again because of the water table. Also, even though the original house had a full basement, because of the water table, we have been forced to design the new structure without a basement, which is something which will depreciate the value of the property and which my client thought he would be able to have when he originally bought the property. But as I said earlier, we did design this new structure to meet all zoning criteria, which we do if the water table was not an issue. And we designed it to be not an eyesore, but rather a nice-looking home, which will clean up the neighborhood and hopefully make people want to move to this location. As you can see, the surrounding neighborhood will only benefit from the construction of the new house. It would help to make this area safer by not having an empty lot, which kids might tend to hang out in and use as a dumping ground. Also, all around us, all properties are improved as single-family houses, most of which already have basements also. What benefit would there be to not allow us to build and maintain a vacant lot in the already improved neighborhood? The new house does not create any negative impact, nor is it a self-created hardship, as we are building to the zoning requirements and my client bought the property as is. With all this in mind, we respectfully ask that the board act favorably on this application and allow us to build on this lot. If anybody has any questions?
Okay. Fleming?
No comments.
Gentlemen?
Yeah, a couple. One, do you know what the depth of the groundwater is?
Yes.
Just-
It's 2.4 feet below grade.
0.4 feet. And next question is, why did the previous owner demolish the existing structure?
Have no idea. He bought it like that.
He bought it just
Yeah.
flat piece of property?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
no problem.
Any other questions?
No question.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Come up, please. Come up. All right. Go ahead, come out behind him, please. Okay. Let me have your name and spell your last name.
My name is Adam Hogan, Hogan.
Okay, and where do you live?
Excuse me, I'm 28 Helen Avenue, right next door to this property.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
My only concern would be them like raising the ground or the level of the ground. I know the water is like 2 feet, 2.5 feet down, the groundwater is. Because that means if they raise it up, there was no basement in the previous house, it burnt down. It burned out, so that's why they ended up demolishing it. And it's been sitting there, now it's a lot for a few years, 2 years maybe or something. My concern would be them raising that ground to put this house, and you really can't put a basement in that area.
He said there was no basement.
Yeah, there was none, there was like a split level or something. And that, my concern, like I said, would be the drainage coming to my lot, which gets flooded. That's a bad corner, that whole area is a bad corner with the groundwater, there's no drainage and all like that, so. That would be my concern, my only concern, I think, right about. I mean, I have no problem with a house being there, I don't want to see that vacant lot anyway, but.
Right.
That's, like I said, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Are you going to speak or you're not? Okay. Okay, thank you so much. You want to come up, please, again?
Just to make them aware,
Where
we are designing the property so that we can contain all
Face
the.
the board, please.
I'm sorry?
Just address the board.
Oh, we're designing the house so that, and the site so that we can contain all drainage, all water on site. So it's not going to go into anyone else's property.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Regularly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17435, Jack and Patricia Provenzano, 22 Longbow Lane, Comac, the location of the property, the south side of Longbow Lane, 812 feet east of Town Line Road. The property is zoned R21. The applicant is requesting a variance to increase the maximum height of a proposed attached garage from 15 feet to 18 feet, increase the maximum the maximum square footage of a detached garage from 750 square feet to 896 square feet.
May I have your name, please?
Jack Provenzano,
And your address, Jack?
22 Longbow Lane, Comac.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
We're here tonight to,
You need to talk in the mic as much as you
Okay.
can, or take it out, whatever.
got it?
Yeah. better.
Okay, we're here to request a variance to increase the maximum height for a detached garage from 15 to 18 feet and increase the maximum square footage from 750 to 896. I'll try to answer these questions here. The variance would not produce an impact on any adjacent properties because the proposed garage is not close to the property line, and as a matter of fact, I doubled the distance from the side and doubled the distance from the back. And there's mostly treed, heavy vegetation, so you can't even see it. The request will not impact anyone else's property because there are several other detached garages in the area. As a matter of fact, my neighbor has one about as big as what we're looking to do. We can't do anything else. We want to try to put a garage on the side, but we don't have enough room to attach it to the house. As far as environmental, we're not going to cut any trees down, and we're not going to dig any cesspools or anything like that. The difficulty was not created by me. As a matter of fact, we're a new owner there. There was never a garage there.
Why do you need it to be 18 feet high?
Well, the pitch of the roof, according to what they say, to accept any kind of a snow load, should be a 5 pitch. We could go down to a 4 pitch, but then the snow load could damage it. That's what they tell us.
Planning?
Madam Chair, both the request to increase the height from 15 to 18 and the request from 750 square feet to 896 square feet is approximately a 20% increase for both. With that said, the garage is proposed to be in the rear of the property. It does meet all of the required setbacks in the rear yard. It does have a very generous side yard setback, appears to be to the east, and more than adequate setbacks on the south and the west side. The only thing I will remind the board is that there was an incident in the past when reviewing and approving a prior detached garage, there was an issue with the height of the sidewalls and the height of the peak.
Right.
So just to bear that in mind.
I noticed that your sidewalls are 12 feet high.
Yes.
And you're building, I guess, a kind of a open structure in the middle. Are you putting a lift in there?
Yes, parking lift to, I
Park
collect
oil.
classic cars. I'm a car guy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will you be working in this garage?
No, minor stuff,
Pardon me?
minor things, wash, wax.
What's
On my
minor?
own, minor work on my own cars.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ready, moved to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. That concludes the hearing for tonight. Thank you so much.